Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la skincare la 2020 lañ wax de waaw fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache perfect skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu dee da nga am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skincare plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème picture boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii.
Hi everyone, my name is Fatou Demba. I am 15 years old. I attend Marina International School, and today I will be hosting, an intergenerational dialogue. Now I will let my honored panelists please introduce themselves.
Okay, good afternoon, beautiful viewers. Good afternoon to the Honorable Minister and the Honorable National Assembly member and the Woman Boss School Ambassador and our dear host here, and also all the beautiful listeners out there. My name is Honorable Fatmata Dafe from the Children's National Assembly.
Okay, so good afternoon, wonderful listeners out there. Good afternoon to the Minister of Women's Affairs. Afternoon to the also National Assembly representative of Banjul, and to our wonderful host, and to also a member of the Children's National Assembly. So my name is Fatima Gomez. I am a Woman Boss School Ambassador, and I'm really honored to be here today in commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child. Thank you.
Good afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, fellow panelists. Good afternoon, our host. And good afternoon to staff of Kerr Fatou. Good afternoon to the Honorable National Assembly member of Banjul North. Good afternoon to UNICEF for supporting this program. I am Fatou Kinte, the Minister of Women, Children and Social Welfare. I'm happy to be here and to share this panel with my wonderful ladies in this intergenerational dialogue observing International Day of the Girl Child. Once again, good afternoon to all of you.
Well, good afternoon, host, Honorable Minister for Children, Ambassador, Honorable Youth Parliamentarian, the viewers out there. I am Usman Silla. I am the National Assembly member for Banjul North, but also the chairperson of the National Assembly Select Committee on Health, Women, Children, Disaster, Humanitarian Relief and Refugees. I am very glad to be part of this panel with you in commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we will be having an intergenerational dialogue and in honor of celebrating the International Day of the Girl Child. An intergenerational dialogue is basically a conversation between the younger and older generation of a community whereby views, perspectives, and experiences are shared to contribute to the growth and the welfare of a community. For example, laws and policies are taken a view at and judged. To make comments or ask questions to any of the panelists, please send a message to 394-03-84. Thank you. So, this year's theme for the International Day of the Girl is My Voice, Our Equal Future. So in regards to that, this is for all panelists, by the way. What do you think an equal future means? Because in the Gambia, gender-based abuse and violence, such as FGM, child marriage, rape, or child labor, are still present in our society in forms of traditional practices or societal norms. So why support an equal future and why support girls' rights?
Yeah. The reason why we should support an equal future and girls' rights is because girls are very important in our society and all over the world. Girls are very important, and girls, we have to pay special attention to girls and to empower them. If we are given the proper support, we have the potential in us to change the world and make it better. So
interesting. So this year's theme for International Day of the Girl Child is My Voice, Our Equal Future. So what this means to me is basically, because I feel like this year's theme is inspired by what we experienced throughout this year, because a lot of us can attest to the fact that this year has been a really tough year for everyone all over the world. That is why this theme is established for this year. So I feel like if you look at it, girls all over the world have been affected by the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, in the Gambia, across Africa, in the whole world. So I feel like, and also because of this, we had the closures of school. And we know obviously girls have to go through online classes, and according to statistics, girls have really low access to technology. Therefore, online classes require them to have knowledge about technology, which is not the case. So if you look at this, girls, because of the pandemic, girls have been affected. Girls are staying home, girls are doing chores, and that is also trying to affect them attend these online classes when most of their families don't have the money to give them data to be attending these online classes, and that is in a very long way going to have long-term effects on them. So I feel like because of this, because of all that girls are going through this year, starting from the violence at home, closures of school, not having access to online classes, this is why we brought up this theme. This theme is brought up, My Voice, Our Equal Future. So what this basically means to me is trying to give girls a voice, to make girls realize that they have a voice in them, and that voice can be used to their own advantage. And if this is so, if girls can be able to know that they have a voice which they can use as the most important tool for them, then we can be assured of an equal future, because then only we can be able to be free of any form of challenges that are affecting us. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, dear host. The theme for this celebration is important. Important in the sense that women form the majority of our populations, And women are key in us achieving our socio-economic development goals. And since because the girl child is going to be the future woman, it's therefore very important to give her a voice, to give her all the support, so that by the time she becomes the adult woman, she's fully empowered and is able to partake in national development. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very apt theme to observe in relation to the girl child. It is talking about my voice, our equal future. And whenever you hear voice, voice means power, means your being, to be assertive, that the girl child should be supported to be assertive, to have a voice, to assert her power. As the minister said, the girl child is the future mother, is the future woman, is the future producer in society. So how do we help capacitize the girl child? You start doing that because we're not expecting the child to be subjected to performing certain labor or certain chores. Of course, domestic chores are permitted, but there are certain things that you don't expect the girl child to be doing at this stage. What we expect to be for her to support her is to help her assert herself, and assertion means having a voice. So I think it's a very apt theme. Like I said, voice is power. And then it starts from that. You support the child from that young age to grow up with all the potentials, the latent potentials in her, harness it, so that she'll become a mother, she'll become a woman, she'll become part of society, she'll become a partner, she'll become whatever she wants to become in order to be part of society, to be productive.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Silla. All of your opinions are and views are very much respected. Also, what are some of the policies and laws, this goes to the policymakers of course, what are some of the policies and laws that have been put in place to protect our women in the Gambia, and how did you decide it was the right policies to be put in place?
Thank you very much, host. Quite a good number of policies have been put in place. You have to remember that the Gambia is part of the UN, and as a result, the Gambia is signatory to most of the international instruments which protect the rights of women and girls. And as a result of all of those international instruments, one of which is the International Convention for the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. There's also the Convention on the Right of the Child. Because Gambia is signatory to these instruments, Gambia has harmonized and domesticated all of these instruments. And in doing so, Gambia has also come up with legislations in the Gambia to implement those international instruments. I can also say that as way of showing its commitment to protecting the rights of women and girls, Gambia has also come up with legislation. For example, we have the CRC, and then because of the CRC, Gambia has come with the Convention on the Right of the Child, 2005, and which was amended in 2016 to include criminalization of child marriage. And even before that, in 2015, the Gambia amended the Women's Act 2010 to be to Women's Act 2015, November 2015. And in that act, the Gambia is also criminalizing FGM. Since then, there have been programs implementing the legislation. By way of implementing the legislation, there are a lot of sensitization activities going on across the board, funded, of course, by government and also our partners. And I can name a few, because here I'm thinking of developing the girl child holistically. There is a program supported by UNFPA for the government of the Gambia, of course, and implemented by the Think Young Women. Think Young Women is a girls' NGO. Of course, there are a few men also, but it is the initiative of a few young women. And they have a program which is quite interesting, and then which is the Girls Mentorship Program. This is a program which runs for a couple of weeks. And they identify girls from different schools who come together during the weekends. And they learn a lot during that time to be assertive in public speaking, to be able to do public speaking, improve their writing skills. And they come up with a whole lot of programs. And by the time girls graduate from that program, they can stand anywhere and say something about their rights. Because they are assertive, they know their rights, and they know how to address their rights. Because it's one thing to know your rights, but there is another to know how to make sure that your rights are attended to by anybody. So the Girls Mentorship Program of the Think Young Women teaches girls a whole lot of things, and they also learn a lot about their sexuality, that is sexual and reproductive health, growing up and its responsibilities. A whole lot of things are taught to the girl child. And by the time she comes out of that training, by the time she graduates, she has acquired a lot of skills and knowledge. And then she knows a lot about herself, and also a lot about her rights and how to claim her rights. But again, I want to say that rights go with responsibility. And in those weeks that girls are trained, they're also taught about their responsibilities. Okay, that's one aspect. Coming to FGM, we all know that we have had legislation since 2015, and quite a number of programs are also ongoing by both government and NGOs, training people and sensitizing them on various issues. And coming back to policies, because the role of the girl child is so important, the Ministry of Education has established a gender unit in 1996, and then come up with gender-sensitive pedagogy and training materials, and teachers were trained on the use of this. Even though later in 2004, the name of the unit changed to the gender unit. It used to be the girls' education unit. It has now been changed to the gender unit. And to reduce the gender gap in education, Ministry of Education gives scholarships to girls, and this is part of the School Improvement Grant, SIG. And because of that program, we have seen quite a number of girls enrolled in schools, and the retention rates are also very improving. The School Improvement Grant actually was for girls in the public schools, apparently. But because more and more girls were being enrolled in school, and in some communities, they give more attention to girls than the boys, the Ministry of Education therefore changed the school enrollment grant and made sure that it now benefits boys and girls. When you go around public schools, you see quite a good number of girls being registered, and then who continue schooling up to grade 12. And then even here in the urban area, when you even go to the private schools, some private schools have more girls than boys. And this is all because of the encouragement that the Ministry of Education has given to girls' education. Now parents are seeing the importance of sending their girls to school, and then more and more parents are sending girls to school, and with support from UNICEF. I can remember with the mothers clubs, more especially in CRR, where UNICEF is giving support to the mothers clubs, providing them with level 7 devices, so that girls, when they close from school, they can study and pay attention to their books instead of being very much involved in domestic chores. I'm not saying that they're not involved in domestic chores, but not to the extent that it is affecting their education. This is all because of the programs that the government has in place, which are supported by government and also by international organizations like UNICEF and other UNFPA and others, and also the NGOs. So there are quite a good number of programs on, and I can also remember the POP FLE program, which was supported by UNFPA from 1994 to 1998, and it went on up to 2002 or 2003. It's called POP FLE in schools. where we looked at the school curriculum and integrated population family life education, looking at growing up and its responsibilities. And this was quite interesting. I think from grade 9 up to grade 12. And now it is being replaced by the comprehensive sexuality education, which is more holistic because it doesn't look at growing up and its responsibilities alone, but it's also looking at FGM, child marriage, and gender-based violence. And a lot of work is being done in that area, and it's quite appreciative by schools and even parents, because it's important in the sense that not all parents are strong enough to discuss sexuality education with their children. And if that's not happening in the home, most children tend to listen to their peers who don't also know much about these issues, and they tend to confuse their peers more. So this was the reason why it was taken up at the level of the schools. And it was quite interesting, and as a result of that, girls became more and more aware of their reproductive health, issues, and we saw a reduction in child marriage. And boys also became more and more aware, and then they talked to each other. Peer counselors were formed in schools who talked to each other and also talked to those out of the school. As a result of which, there was a reduction in teenage pregnancy. So the Ministry of Education didn't stop at only that, but they also are looking at programs in the sciences. And then they have a clinic, maths and science clinic for teachers and over 800 girls across the country. And this is also good in the sense that it prepares girls to opt for science subjects in schools. Many a time, some girls think that science subjects are difficult and they don't opt for science subjects. But because of this program, we are seeing more and more girls opt for science subjects in schools. And then the UNFPA also gives some support to Women's Bureau in those days, between 1998 and 2003, in which they tried to reduce the gender gap in science and technology. And girls who did well in the grade 9 exams were given scholarships to grade 10, 11, and 12. And this has yielded positive results. And we have seen quite a number of girls who benefited from that, who are now medical doctors. Some are engineers, some are nurses. And as part of that program, ECOWAS also is giving support to my ministry in bridging the gender gap in science and technology, and giving girls scholarships to pursue courses at the level of the University of the Gambia and also universities in West Africa. We started first with only girls, but now we are also encouraging boys, giving scholarships to some of the boys. And Gambia Post Authority, as a way of complementing government's efforts, is also giving scholarships to girls who offer science subjects at the University of the Gambia. So there are quite a number of programs that the government of Gambia is running, of course with support from partners and also being complemented by some other agencies in different areas, all in a way to support the girl child, to make sure that the girl child is given all the support. She's fully empowered. So the way she becomes a woman, she's fully empowered and is able to play her rightful roles in national development. Thank you very much. I'll stop there for now.
Yeah, thank you. That was really detailed and informative. Thank you very much. Honorable, so do you have anything to say?
Yes, thank you very much. It is a very good question that you ask in terms of what policies and laws exist to support the girl child. And as you know, there's a clear distinction between policy and laws in terms of also roles. As for policies, is the executive being represented by the minister that formulates policies, and the ones that formulate policies, programs, and implement them. For us at the Assembly, we legislate, we enact laws, and ensure the implementation of laws through oversight. In fact, the committee that I represent is one of the oversight bodies at the Assembly. Like, for instance, in fact, in terms of legislation, what this country has is that we have the Children's Act. In fact, two laws address the issues of the girl child. One, the Women's Act, as she has cited, because it talks about girls, issues that affect the girl child. in terms of these harmful traditional practices, and also the Children's Act. Although Children's Act in general is all gender, but you can also see the elements that factor women, the girl child as such, that protect the girl child. If you look at because there are two legislations, you have the 2005 Children's Act, and also the 2016 Children's Amendment Act. And all these act, in fact, the 2016 Children's Amendment Act talks more about child marriage, childbirth total, of course. So these are the laws that are in place to protect the girl child from abuse, from traditional harmful practice, from harmful customary, they call it customary practices, and anything that would stunt their growth, that is inimical to their development. There are laws. Whether they are adequate, this is questionable. Well, this can be. Well, is it adequate? Well, these are things that we can interrogate as a country. But as he said, the honourable minister, most of these laws are domesticated from these agreements, conventions that the Gambia acceded to as a country, that is signed to adopt. So they transform. If you look at the law, you can even see the best part of it is taken from these conventions that Gambia has committed itself to, herself to. So for us, that's our role. We don't formulate policies. We don't implement programs. We don't implement policies. It's the executive. But what we do is the laws that we pass. They can come from the executive. They can come. In fact, any law that comes into this that comes in place has to pass through the National Assembly. That is why we are called lawmakers. Okay. It may emanate from elsewhere, like from the executive, but it can also emanate from the National Assembly, like from a committee, select committee on children. We can look into an issue that we feel needs to be given the effect of law, and start it at our level to pass it, subjected to the various phases. For a law, it starts with a bill. The bill comes, we debate it, the whole process. From there, we pass it, and the president has to sign it before it becomes law. They call it assent. I don't need to bore you with the processes, but basically, these are the phases that it passes through: a bill, and then it becomes an act. Whenever you hear an act, that means the law. So the Children's Act is the law now. And then you have the Parent Act, but there are also amendments. Like new issues might arise, and they want to legislate, have a law on it. That's when you need amendments. It has to come back to us to amend it. It can come from the government, from the executive, the minister, any minister can come, and in this case, the Minister for Women's Affairs. And this is the legislation. In terms of oversight, this ministry is also under our purview, the select committee on children. We oversee them to ensure that the law, this Children's Act is implemented, and also the policies formulated by government. It's also our interest, because we have to work together. We are not opposing camps, but we are separate powers. You have legislative powers, you have executive powers. We complement it, we work in tandem to ensure that the objectives towards serving the population are realized, and in this instance, towards serving the girl child are realized. So we have to work together. As a committee, we can invite them, the minister, come tell us what is happening with the Children's Act, particularly this provision that is talking about welfare. I hope every girl child in this country, the welfare is being promoted, being protected by the executive. Can you tell us what you are doing in that regard? And they have to oblige. They are obliged to come and tell us what they are doing, and we can, give them support, because the support is that we can say, well, with this, you need a law. You can support them. It can come from us, it can come from them. And also, we are the ones who approve, who approve resources, allocate resources. They can also come to us also that, well, we could not implement this policy, or this program, or this law, because we lack resources. So can you please help us when we come to the assembly to request for funds, you allocate resources to activities that deal with the promotion and protection of the welfare of the girl child. This is an example I'm giving you. So this is how we operate. For us, we are lawmakers, and we are oversight to ensure that the government really does what it is supposed to do in terms of implementing policies, programs, and also the law that is in place.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just want to add that my ministry is coming up with the child protection policy, and it is in line with the rights of the child as stated in the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and of course, in which the right of the girl child is also key. We have just drafted the concept note, and then very soon we'll be working on the terms of reference, and then the consultancy will be given out, and then we develop the child protection policy 2021-2025 with the strategy, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for that vivid explanation of the process and some of the laws that we have in place to protect our women and children. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, the Honorable Minister, like, we sent a document to you people. We sent a document called the Call to Action, the Gambia We Want. So regarding the policy that you're making, does it, like, include our document, sort of?
Of course. In developing the policy, we'll have audience with the National Assembly of Children. You are very important to us. After all, this is the Ministry for Women, Children and Social Welfare. It's within our mandate to make sure that all of your rights are fulfilled. So in coming up with this policy, we'll hold a very good consultation with you to make sure that all of the areas of your concern are included in the policy and also in the strategy. And I do understand very well that in implementing the policy, you also have a key mandate. So this is the reason why we will consult with you to make sure that all of your concerns are addressed in the policy and the strategy. You are very important to us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So can I say something?
Sure.
So basically, the minister mentioned about recently when we have the comprehensive sexuality education. So I just wanted clarification. Yeah, I recently graduated from high school, but I want to know which schools are really included in this kind of things, because considering this, in my whole time learning in school, like from primary to junior to secondary school, I've not come across issues that address comprehensive sexuality education when we are in class and then something comes up about our sexuality when we're talking about especially the reproductive system. You see people trying and grumbling because if you look at it, it has been a normalized norm, a normalized thing in our society that we should not talk about things that involve our sexuality. So it is only, I'm also a mentee of Think Young Women. I benefited from their mentorship program, and it is I will have to say it is because of that mentorship program that I got to know about my sexuality, about sexual and reproductive health rights. But if only with the school, if we are to leave it with the school, then I would not have known anything about my sexuality. So I just wanted to know. I know it's a really, really good one where, we talk about comprehensive sexuality education in our schools. I also love to see civic education in general in our curriculum. So I just wanted you to clarify. When is it already in place? Are schools already doing, have they already included comprehensive sexuality education in their curriculum? Or is it only a plan that is yet to be implemented?
Okay, to start with, let me talk about the Population Family Life Education, POP-FLE. Members of the Think Young Women, from whose mentors we benefited, all benefited from the POP-FLE in schools. POP-FLE in schools. And when FLE in schools ended, plans started towards coming up with the comprehensive sexuality education. And it is at an advanced stage at the moment. Actually, FLE in schools was taught in public schools, not in the private schools. But again, even in the public schools, it wasn't examinable. That was one of the challenges that we encountered. And so with this comprehensive sexuality education in schools, we try to see if we can make it examinable so that more and more students can be interested in the course. And as we are speaking, the materials have been developed and the teachers have been trained. I took part in the training of the teachers. And then very soon it will be introduced into the school curriculum. In fact, the reason why it wasn't even introduced up to 3 years ago was because of the name given to it, comprehensive sexuality education. Some people are of the view that we should change the name because before it was POP-FLE, but now it's going to be comprehensive sexuality education simply because it covers a lot more. It's broadened to include FGM, child marriage, and gender-based violence. Yeah, but very soon it will start in the schools, of course, in the public schools. Yes, yeah.
Okay. So I have a little also clarification from the honorable member of parliament. So you mentioned that, yeah, I actually learned it in school about the legislature trying to oversee the implementation of acts and laws by the executive. So I wanted to know, like, because implementation strategies is going to be another whole discussion, but right now I don't want to get into that. So I just wanted to know how does the legislature do that? Because I know when, for example, if the executive introduces a bill in parliament and then it is being debated about, when you have the first reading, the second reading, the committee stage, and all of that before it is assented by the president of the country to become a law. So I just wanted to know, if it becomes a law, how well do you try? Do you have a particular committee in the legislature, or is it the responsibility of all legislators to oversee the implementation of these policies by the executive?
Well, actually, our role as a legislative body is that, I'm really impressed that you understand the processes at this age, and I guess everybody at your age understands it that way. We have the plenary, which is the whole members. They are the ones that have the authority, that have the power to be passing laws. But there are committees. These are the oversight arms. The assembly cannot work without the committees. The committees are they are the legs, so to speak, or the hands of the National Assembly, whatever you want to call them. So they are the ones that do the nitty-gritties, the details, the technical aspects, and then bring them back. We report back to the plenary. Okay, in the case of a bill, like for instance, let's take the Children's Act, when it was coming to the National Assembly. It started from the executive. They might have some stakeholder forum around it, consultation. I'm not sure whether the previous default was doing that, but this time around we are insisting and we're doing it. We're ensuring that the executive, before they bring anything before us, they undertake consultation. Even if it comes to us, we do that. Whatever consultation they might have done, if it becomes a bill, it has to pass to a process. First a bill, it has to be published in the Gazette for 3 months, 10 days. After that, they bring it to us, and within a short period, we have the first reading. First reading is just an announcement by the clerk. The minister would come, hand over the bill to the clerk symbolically, and the clerk reads it. That is considered first reading. No debate is entertained. It takes minimum of 3 days before we do the second reading. It can be beyond that, but minimum, at least 3 days. So during the second reading, the minister would come, and then they would ask the National Assembly whether we want to proceed. If they say the ayes have it, that's with the ayes and the noes. If the ayes have it, then we proceed. Then that's the time when National Assembly members are allowed to talk about the bill, but only on its merits and principles, not the details. In the law you have, when it is a bill, we call it clause. When it is a law, we call it sections. So we don't discuss the clause. We are not permitted to discuss the clause, but the principles. What are the merits? What are the demerits? What are the objectives? Do we need it, or do we don't? The case in point is the constitution, the draft constitution that was before us. It was killed. It had passed through the second stage, but it did not go beyond there. It was killed there. So after the members debated on the principles and merits, general principles and merits of the bill, it's subjected to a vote whether we want to proceed to the next stage, that is committee stage. If they say yes, then it goes to but it does not go to committee stage directly. The assembly can say, well, we want the committee, want the whole house to be the committee, the plenary. Let's discuss it right and then immediately after this. Or they can say, no, let's commit it to, there's a committee that is created now called the Assembly Business Committee, ABC. The mandate of the committee is to be determining which of we have 3 committees in the National Assembly. We have select committee, we have standing committee, we can have special select committee, and we can also have joint committees. So it is this ABC that decides that, well, let's give it to the Committee on Children. Since this is a children's bill, let's give it to this is the most appropriate committee So it will come to us. From that, that is committee stage. We would now invite the stakeholders. And what the first thing that we do is that, well, who is the custodian? Who will be the custodian of this if it becomes law? We said, it's the Ministry Ministry of Children, or Ministry for Children. We would invite the ministry, the minister and the team, the AG chambers, and all the stakeholders, non-state actors even, the children organization, women organization, youth organizations, we invite them because we may feel that they might be very relevant regarding the issues that we are supposed to discuss in the bill. Okay, we have this committee stage. That's consultation. We call it consultation, investigation. It's an investigative process. We're going to get evidence from them. And for your information, these committees have the powers of a high court. When we sit, we are sitting as a high court. And what high court means that we have the power to invite anybody to come before us. And you must come before us. Otherwise, if you don't, it's a contempt of the court. And what is done for people who contempt courts is what is going to apply on you. We also have the powers to ask for any document. Failure to do that is contempt, and the sanctions will apply. We also have the powers to invite witnesses from outside, even to go. The committee can even relocate to investigate a matter outside. So you can see the powers that these solace committees have, as the arms and the legs of the National Assembly. So after the committee stage, what we're supposed to do is that we will, after consulting with the stakeholders, we'll prepare our report with recommendations. But in fact, the committee stage is the stage that you deal with the details, that is clause by clause. And in law, everything matters when you're drafting a law. Every letter. If you spell it wrongly, it might mean something different. And once it passes as law, that's how it is. Nothing can change it. Even if the mistake is realized, that's just forgone. Well, unless you started another process again to amend it, that is how it is. It should be. Every word matters, every phrase matters. So with that, we have our recommendations, and then they go and present a recommendation to the plenary. That is where it is decided whether what we have done, the work we have done, is approved or not. They can even make some changes. And what it passes that stage, it goes to the president to assent. And if the president does not assent from a given period of time, it would come back to us, and then it automatically becomes a law. So that means, but we have to work together. In fact, a case in point is that there is a bill that was recently passed and is now in the process of becoming a law, the Women Enterprises Bill. In fact, our two institutions, we are working on it, the ministry and the committee that I chair. So there's a new facility, a funding facility for women. It has passed all the pre-stages process. What is now left is the assenting of by the president for it to become law. Anyway, so after this process, what we do now is that these laws, they are implemented by the ministry that is concerned, or the institution that is concerned. But our role there does not stop there. Our role does not end at passing it to become law. We can now perform oversight on it. Like I said, I think I give you the example. We can, like young children, the children parliament can come to our committee and then inquire about a particular law that they feel is not being implemented, or they can ask us that we want you to engage the ministry to inquire why this is not the case. So that's all oversight. We can also write, the minister ask about the children parliament. We can ask about the children parliament. What is this children parliament doing about promoting the interests of children? And they would engage you and then report back to us. So we have powers to ensure implementation, and then also like powers to sanction. Powers to ensure that what should be implemented is implemented in terms of policies. But by the way, policies is their domain. Initially, policies were just formulated at the level of the executive, implemented at the level of the executive. It has never been, part of the National Assembly processes. But now, National Assembly is encouraging the ministries, and they have started doing that. that for their policies, they should be consulting with us. In fact, we're even asking them to be bringing policies before the assembly. The Honorable Minister is talking about the child protection strategy, policy. In fact, this is an instance where we can continue the collaboration. They ought to bring it before our committee, engage us, so they will give them all the support. At the end of the day, for its implementation, it needs resources, and it is us who approve resources. And if it starts with us, in fact, the beauty of it is that if we collaborate, we make life easy for everybody. We serve our purposes, our objectives. This is consultation. With this policy, if they start now engaging our committee, we'll know about the details, what are the challenges, what are the issues, how they would want us to come in to intervene as a select committee, how they would want the National Assembly to intervene as a body, as a legislative body. We can only know that when we consult on it. So this is one of the opportunities that we can collaborate. But as I want to tell you that Assembly can enforce implementation. National Assembly is very powerful. Before the powers were there, but they were not being implemented. The National Assembly was not assertive then. But now we have a very assertive National Assembly, and of course a proactive. You have some ministries that are very proactive. I can say this, particularly those that are engaged with the committee, with our committee. We ensure that they are proactive, and they are really demonstrating proactivity. So, and that is what we need in order to push the national agenda, to serve the population groups, and in this case, the girl child. So, there is no excuse for not doing what we are supposed to do as far as the assembly is concerned. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for those vivid explanations and clarifications. To our wonderful audience, you can make your comments or questions on our Facebook page, Kerr Fatou's Facebook page, or on 394-0384. Also, we are live on GRTS Radio 98.6 and 106.7 FM. So, we have heard of the laws and the processes, and we have heard of the questions that our young generation have to say. But are the responsible institutions actually enforcing these laws, and are they actually implementing them to the best of their abilities? Are they being implemented properly, inconsistently, or even implemented at all?
Okay. Yes, implementation is in progress. I can make reference to the law on FGM and the child marriage laws. There is sensitization across the country to popularize the laws, so everybody gets to know that if you send your child off to marriage before age 18, it is against the law and it's criminal, and you can be charged. Likewise, if you cut your girl child, it's a criminal offense, and then again you can face the consequences of the law. People are aware, but then we implement by sensitizing and letting people know that these things are criminal. Now, what is left is for people to report. When people don't report, you can't enforce the law. There was a time when a case of FGM was reported. It was in the West Coast region when the child died. But apparently, when we went after the medical report, it indicated that the child died of normal causes. So that will be difficult to pursue. Even where the perpetrators were arrested, in the end they were released because the medical report indicated that it was out of normal causes that the child died. So this also requires us to do further training and sensitization of everybody who's involved, the security officers, the medical personnel, the entire communities, so that when a case is brought to court, at least there's enough evidence to pursue the case. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing. But then a lot more work is being done, and at the Attorney General's chambers, they have also established a gender unit, which included prosecutors and other judicial staff, so that when cases reach the courts, the right attention is given. But again, the most important thing is to get the information right. Yes, because like the case that I mentioned, it was difficult to pursue the case. But then we believe in training and sensitization. When such cases are reported to the health facility, when they are recording the cause of death, it will be properly recorded so that we can pursue the case further. Okay. Because what we want to see is to see at least 1 or 2 people imprisoned. When it is done, people will stop. Yeah. Yes, we know these are social norms, but then they are harmful social norms. Yes, so we have to set an example. This is the reason why we are asking everybody to be alert. When you heard of an incident, please do report and report on time so that the necessary course of action can be taken and we set examples so that people can stop the harmful social norms. Yeah, thank you.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, in terms of the law, of course, there is need for sensitization.
Yeah.
The law should, for me, I believe that the law should be there only to serve as a deterrent. But we also need to sensitize the population, and there may be also alternatives to what the law is actually asking for. But with sensitization, communities can be helped. But as I said, it's important to have it there, and it is no harm to apply it on some intransigent lawbreakers who are very insistent on breaking the law. And in this case, breaking the law may cost someone her life, like harmful personal practices, the game of the life. So we need to do more in terms of engaging the communities, but the law is there to be implemented. If they insist on continuing the practices that are costing lives, precious lives, then countries have to really face the full force of the law.
May I ask, why do you say the law is only for deterrence?
Well, for me, that's, well, like I said, as a last resort, you can implement it. You can prosecute people. But having it there, and then making people know that this thing exists, and these are the penalties if you break the law. That's the deterrence I'm talking about. It's good to have laws, but make them known so that it will serve as deterrent. But there are some people who know that this is what the law says, and then yet would be doing something that contravenes the law. So with those, especially if it concerns life, because FGM sometimes results in those that are being subjected to the practice losing their lives, or even living with some health complications throughout their life. So the person who insists on doing that, you're harming others. And we were informed that this is, you're told that this is something that is harming others, and you don't care. You just want to do it for reasons that are really not really convincing. Because survival, let's talk about survival, is
compared to tradition,
so they're just traditionalists, as we said, yes. So the law is there, but let's ensure that everybody knows about the law. Let's encourage them, even if there are alternatives, like for instance, they're talking about rituals. If it is rituals to womanhood, you can do it without the cutting. They can do that. You can do it. So those are alternatives that can be encouraged. If that's done, that's fine. But for the cutting, no, definitely.
Yeah, it truly is a health hazard.
Yeah, can I just add one thing?
Sure.
I just want to add that we also have in place the Domestic Violence Act and the Sexual Offences Act of 2013. And a lot of work has also been done in that area. For example, with support from UNFPA, we have been able to integrate gender and gender-based violence into the curricula of the police training school since 2012. And a gender unit was established at the police training school, and a number of police trainers trained on gender and gender-based violence. And as we speak, they are teaching gender and gender-based violence at the police training schools. you may begin to wonder as why the police. Yes, the police, simply because before that, when people report such cases to the police, they dismiss it as personal family matter, not warranting police intervention.
Yeah.
This is the reason why it was introduced to the police. And apart from those who pass through the police training school, those in the field have also been trained. Over 1,500 police officers have been trained. And I want to say that a training manual was also developed. That was what was used in the training. And at the very first training of the police officers in 2012, they recommended that they be given support to organize radio panel discussions. And this was really quite fruitful. And when police are engaged in that, they talk about gender and gender-based violence and the role of the police in managing such cases. As a result, we are now seeing more and more cases being reported to the police, which wasn't happening before. Even though people will come back and withdraw the cases. But I still feel that the mere fact that they are being reported, it means we are making an achievement. And when they withdraw cases, the police don't just allow them to withdraw like that, but they go meet the family members and let them know that this is criminal. But next time it happens, it will go to prosecution. But in fact, now we are seeing, once it reaches the police station, there can no longer be withdrawal. It should pursue to prosecution. We're going to show examples so that people can stop beating their wives and their girls. Yeah, because that's not the way forward. And for sexual abuse, which is rape, which includes rape, of course, and that one, there's nothing like withdrawing the cases. The cases are pursued, and we have seen a few people being sentenced because they are the perpetrators of rape cases. So these are all the cases, laws that we have in place to protect the girl child and to protect women. And for some of them, although implementation is difficult, but some are really being implemented. Like the Sexual Offences Act. That one, if anybody is caught in a rape case, there's evidence, you go to court and they are prosecuted. Yeah.
Do you have anything?
Yeah.
Go on.
What I wanted to say is like, I want to add on, we have many laws. They're beautiful in black and white. Yeah. We have the laws there in place. As he said, the problem is people don't report. And for reporting, I think it's because of this maslaha issue in the family, in the houses, or like when an uncle rapes the nephew, the niece, the niece. When the uncle rapes the niece, and they have to report, like all the family will be like, don't report, it will spoil the dignity of the family and stuff like that. There'll be that maslaha issue in the family, so the case doesn't go. If it comes to FGM and child marriage in the community, it's because they don't believe that it's wrong. And we all know that FGM and child marriage, the harm is more than the good. So it has to be stopped. So ignorance of the law is no excuse.
There's no excuse.
You have to face the consequences.
That's right,
Yeah, so we in the communities, if we are aware of such issues, we should not keep it to ourselves. We should report. And to make the community believe that this is wrong, there has to be a conflict. When I say conflict, doesn't mean that we have to fight. There has to be battle of ideas, clash of great ideas, where we have a debate with the community, where they come with their points, we come with our points, and we will be debating till there is a party that realizes that, yeah, what I'm saying is not correct, like what I'm doing is not right. So we have to, all those public speakers out there, all those people that act drama, the poets, all of them, they have to make like sensitization videos, dramas, and stuff like that to make people aware that what we are doing is wrong. We have to realize that this is really bad. If all the girls are caught and we lost many girls through the process, then what is the future going to be like? If most of the girls are raped, and sometimes someone is raped, instead of giving the person like courage, some people will like be demoting the person,
Shaming
and
the
some
victim.
and sometimes they'll be like it's because of how the person dresses.
Yeah.
So eye dressing somehow doesn't mean that when I go out a boy should jump on me. The dress code doesn't matter, but after a girl is raped, they said people will say like
fault.
it's her fault, it's the way she dresses and stuff like that. Doesn't give the authority or the power for a boy to just come and rape a girl. So we should have that mentality. It's because of the mindset of the people, and we have to work very hard to change the mindset of the people. We have to make them realize that this is wrong. All of this, some people say it's culture. What we should know is culture is man-made. Culture is man-made. We had cultures of burying babies and stuff like that, but it's no more. That's how we have to also work to change this FGM and child marriage thing that is affecting girls.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think as a compliment, I want to say that yes, the sensitization involving entire communities is very important, and it has yielded results. Gamkutrap and Tostan and all the NGOs in the field have worked with entire communities, from religious leaders, traditional leaders, influential women, young people, and they engage them, and they do understand. And to a point that the communities came forward and said they want to stop FGM with the circumcisers who will drop their knives. And we have seen cases where we even had the dropping of the knife ceremonies in parts of the country, supported by UNICEF, through Tostan and other NGOs, and then also supported by UNFPA through Gamkutrap, Ministry of Health, and other NGOs. Communities became very aware, and they agreed to drop their knives with the circumcisers. And it's always a big ceremony, which we refer to as the dropping of the knife, or the DOK, where communities stop. In those communities, even though some will go back, but only a few will go back and start cutting their girls. Yes. Okay, when it comes to rape, people blaming the young girl or a lady. I think that's wrong, because the point is, even if you walk naked in the street, it doesn't want somebody falling on you to rape you. We should know very well, yes, I know nobody will walk naked in the street. And in fact, in this day and time, even the short skirts the girls wear, they have stopped. Fashion changes. Yeah, we are seeing girls dressed in a more modest way. But even where they don't, it doesn't give somebody the right to fall on them to rape. Let them know that there are laws. If you are caught, you face the consequences of the law. And then FGM, child marriage, gender-based violence, these are all social norms. They have been designed by us, as you have said, in our culture. And as we move, as we develop, things change. There was a time when talking about FGM and child marriage and gender-based violence were taboos. You dare not talk about them. But the mere fact that now we can talk about them openly, we even have men and boys talking about them, means we are making some big achievements. Yeah, because when you don't talk about something, people don't get to know about it. They don't know how harmful it is. But now that people are talking about it, we are discussing it at different fora. People are getting to know that these things are harmful, and as a result, slowly and slowly, people are stopping. In fact, there will come a time when we will no longer talk about FGM or child marriage again, because people have stopped completely. In 2013, when we did the survey through the DHS, the prevalence rate was 76.5%. And 2018, when UNICEF did the mix, among girls 0 to 14, it had dropped down to 53%. So I'm sure if you do a national survey now on FGM, you'll see a big decline. Yeah, because people are becoming more and more aware, and then they are making sure that they don't cut their girls. Yes, in some cultures, they're still doing it, but the magnitude is really going down. So we still believe in sensitization. We still are going to use different forms of communication, behavior change communication, to help people become more and more aware that some of these things are harmful, they have no benefits at all, and they should stop. And in fact, Mr. C, I don't know whether I should let the cat out of the cage. My ministry and UNICEF are working on a different way of community sensitization, in which we want to use radio and TV drama. with listening groups in different parts of the country. We feel that's another way of sensitization, and that way also people will become more and more aware of the harmful effects of some of these, and they themselves decide to stop. Yes, legislation is important, but when people decide to stop on their own accord, that is more self-sustaining. Yeah. So we are going to use both. There'll be the law, and there'll also be the continuous sensitization, so people become aware of the harmful effects, and they stop on their own. Yeah.
I also want to add, that I would agree with you that the woman dressing in a giving way does not give anybody license to abuse her sexually, much more to rape her. In fact, as we speak, there's a process that is ongoing at the Assembly. The committee, together with the ministry, her ministry and justice, we are considering an amendment of the law in which rape, as you know, most of the cases are settled out of court. We want to make it very difficult that in fact, no rape case would be settled out of court. We are presently at the committee stage of considering it. We are very much involved. In fact, on Tuesday we will be reviewing that part of the law that they want to amend to make it very difficult, but impossible, for a rape case to be settled out of court. This maslahat thing that we're talking about. And the other thing also, when these laws were when they came into being, there was no Ministry of Children, no ministry responsible for children-related matters. Now we have got it. I think Honorable Minister would take the opportunity, I'm sure they're doing it, to review the Children's Act in detail to see where the challenges are, where there are what they call lacuna in law, gaps, and then what best practice obtains elsewhere that we can apply again, to make it fit for purpose. Comprehensive Children's Act that is fit for purpose. We need that. And I would advise you as young people, go through it, review it. Review it. Wherever you feel there is a challenge and you feel that it's the government that should come in, you can approach the ministry as in your organizations. If you feel the National Assembly Select Committee on Children also needs to be informed, needs to be part of the process, our doors are open. I'm inviting you, our doors are open. Anytime you want to pay a courtesy call, you can just inform us. You have any issue to raise with us that you want us to pursue, our doors are open. But I would advise you, go and review this, because if you look at the Children's Act, it's talking about welfare, the welfare principle, and that's cardinal, that the best interest of the child shall be paramount, should be paramount in consideration by any court, institution, or person, or anybody determining any question concerning the child. And this, we mean girl child, because we're talking about girl child. And when we talk about child in general, girl child is part of it. So it's talking about the child being given protection and care. These are rights. These are prescribed by law. So you need to know this, that the children, girl child in particular, is entitled to protection and care by state institutions, by the family, by society. It's an entitlement, it's a right. It's talking about right to what? Right to survival and development, right to nationality, right to health services, and of course, as the minister was saying, where there are rights, there are also responsibilities. Also responsibilities of the children. It's also prescribed. What are your responsibilities? You have an obligation also. You have a duty. It's talking about child prohibition of marriages of children, girl child, child betrothal. You have a host of rights that are prescribed in the law. It is important for you to know about them and then see whether practice what obtains in society at the level of government, whether government is still implementing this. That is those parts of the law that deals with the executive, where National Assembly is doing oversight, and where the society, civil society, government, institutions like the police, the courts, and the like. So it's for you to interrogate. So that's my challenge to you. Interrogate the laws and see whether they're adequate. Where there are challenges, you highlight it. Our doors are open, and I guess the Honourable Minister also would open our doors to you. So that's the challenge we're throwing to you, huh?
Excellent.
I just want to say that as the Honourable National Assembly member has just highlighted, the Children's Act is quite comprehensive, and the child protection policy that we are coming up with will be in line with the Children's Act, to make sure that every aspect of the welfare of the child, of course including the girl child, is addressed in the policy. And then it requires also a whole lot of consultations with not only adults, but children's organizations as well. And then children at the grassroots, so that we hear their views. It will require a lot of consultations just to make sure that it addresses all of your concerns before it is finalized. So be rest assured, now that there's a Ministry for Women, Children and Social Welfare, we are here to protect the rights of the child, including, of course, the right of the girl child, which is fundamental for our national development.
That is brilliant, and times are changing, people are evolving. So we will be starting to wrap up with, after her point, yeah, you were saying?
So I just wanted to put something across, like that when she mentioned that girls are usually blamed for being raped. I also want to understand, like a 5-year-old, was she also exposing her body before she was raped? Also, like, you know, when you're raped, they're like, you are showing your boobs, you're showing what you're not supposed to show. But then we know a 5-year-old girl cannot obviously have boobs. A 5-year-old girl cannot dress in a way that can attract people, but they are still raped. So it's like, if you look at these excuses, it's just trying to apologize for these rapists, and we cannot accept that. So I think what we should adopt is trying to hold these culprits accountable and stop blaming victims. Because if you know the courage it takes for a victim to come out and speak up for being raped, I don't think people will be here blaming about things they don't even know about. So also I wanted to, I'm really impressed with how you all put across the idea of sensitization. The minister mentioned about trainings of the police. Yeah, initially, because if you go to the police, I had a friend that told me about being abused by her own family member, and then when she went to report to the police station, she was told that it is family, she can go and settle it at home. We also, like when we were having a mentorship program by Think Young Women, there was once when we were having an outdoor activity. So we used to have it in schools. So, but then we were having an outdoor activity. So we left our stuff inside the class and went outside the class. So there were this set of boys who are known to be notorious in the community. So they went inside, they intruded our space. They stole the stuff of the girls. They stole their phones, their tablets, their money, and even went ahead to steal our food. So it was when we saw one of them with our drink, and then we started being suspicious. But then, you know, we have confidential thieves, and then we asked them, and they were like, are we the only ones that know the shop to buy this kind of drinks? And then we become suspicious, and then when we went back, we did not find stuff and they're missing. So they suspected that we suspected, and they ran away. So it was this time we stopped everything we were doing to run after them. So I was really, it was really disheartening when we saw a traffic officer trying to conduct, the traffic, and then we told him about our situation, and then all he got to say was that he's not responsible, he's only a traffic officer. And then that kept me wondering, does that mean that police is not a police? Because if you look at it, a police is responsible to protect our properties. So if you tell a police officer that somebody robbed you of, and the police say it's not his responsibility, then whose responsibility is it? Then and I was also wondering, what if I was a guy, let me say an example. So this is giving us like interpretations in different ways. So if I was walking by and then a guy just come and grabs me in the street, or a guy just come and takes my phone away from me, and then I saw a police officer nearby, which is the best place I should go to, and then report the case. The traffic officer is also going to tell me, it's not my responsibility, I'm a traffic officer. So this is what I think, this is what girls are also facing. I know you are having sensitizations with the police, but I also think it's a recommendation I'm putting across. It's to sustain this sensitization. It's about sustainability. So if, for example, you have trainings about these issues with the police, I think probably you could have a particular set of people, like part of your ministry, to be looking through, to be observing how these police officers are actually going with their responsibility. I feel like some of these police officers don't even know what they're supposed to do to help us, stop with these crimes. So it's something that I'm also putting across. Also, she mentioned about how we can have debates, dramas, to be able to put sensitization across. I think it's really important, especially having these debates, to talk to them about this, because it's been a belief, a very, very long belief. So it will be really difficult to change their perspectives on it. So I think we should also have things to also see it from their own perspective and talk to them about it. So I think if we have these kind of discussions with them, we can be able to see what is actually stopping them from doing away with these kind of traditional practices. And I think with that, we can be able to go a long way with the fight against these traditional harmful practices.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, if we, I mean, the laws are put in place. It's just the improvement of implementation that has to be like consistent, and the reporting of the inspections and stuff to be actually this thing consistent and stuff like that. Well, that was an amazing go at the intergenerational dialogue. We're here at Kerr Fatou by UNICEF, which is an organization that is a United Nations agent that aids in protecting child's rights and protecting children from all over the world. And also the Woman Boss, which is an organization that empowers young women and girls, or women at large, and provides them with the resources that they need to be at their utmost potential. And I would like to thank my panelists, Honorable Mr. Silla, Madam Fatoumata Fatou Kinte, sorry, Fatoumata Dafe, yes, and Ms. Fatima Gomez. Okay, so thank you, audience, for being so brilliant and for listening to us, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yara ñilla domoro ka diaten
boy janno sikes restaurant
e say nakko be ninna dimbal nimbe domoro kala janno
domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kendema bije luntan during tamala abeka domoro ki janni adi manda wala de te ka we bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa e ka fa minne ko pastry anim bakery iko fanan be kalele badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo pendin lon dunya kono domoro betama nyillom international o toda number 1
amanke ba domola jandama
e sa domo jang is atariya
wo mu kubandi
sa nakko sa futandin
e oto sa nakko be mu CKS restaurant
dafa nan janna mu yat ni manje dorom bijam
aban
CKS restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.
diwli lanni maaro lanni
fop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno gerde ten e ngal ɗo sabu e ngal ɗo Ibrahima jonnal taw joni mi anda se yahay kapitiki ñawloyoɗen ha humpondire makko est ce qu'on non e warude
waɗen noon
ane ko de Ibrahima ma ko to woni
mo Amérique
ko Amérique a woni kede humpitaki fiɓe musidɓe men baluwo ɓe andanɗa kala ko wawɗa wonde e aduna o si a rewi e juuɗe maɓɓe a jonnay ɗo dépassement o Gambia hara no weeɓi a yahata kadi taw ko mbuɗi ɗi no ƴawi walla no jippi ɓe haalantama ko kala ko falɗa ko sengo ñamete ili nebba maaro basal pomme de terre kala ko rewi ɗon a hendoto hara no weeɓi kadi wona ɗum ɗon tu ɓe aɓe jonnira e mobile phone siko ɗum kadi laptop kala ko wayrode ɗi hay kaspawa ɓe wawma jonnude kadi sa fala humpitade ko weeɓi ƴettu Google account ma joni data ton waɗa download app maɓɓe on ayiyay kala ko humpima e maɓɓe ton ɓe weeɓiyama
ka wonɗa wo e aduna on
kala ko wawɗa
a jonnanayi wonɗo ka leydi men Gambia ɗo dépense
hara no weeɓi ha ma si ɗum noon fof no neeɓi immoɗen joni mi ɗowtama ka place maɓɓe jan
waɗen joni
iya heɓa ko falaɗa
waɗen kisam
When we touch down, better broke down.
Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
So she became mine and see